loud.
Both.
Okay, y'all.
The legs.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
All right, so I'm on campus. Yay. We're gonna get through skin analysis or as much of it as possible. I'm not gonna keep you the whole time today because I have to do my orientation as well. So if I'm not mistaken, we are going to pick up on Fitzpatrick skin types. So let me go ahead and share my screen, show the screen. Okay. Yeah, because we finished Monday talking about skin types, right? So quick review, what were the skin types? What were the 4 skin types we talked about?
Dry, combination, sensitive,
No,
not sensitive.
sensitive is not a skin type.
Is it textured? No, not textured.
Those are conditions but the 4 skin types, you said dry, I heard dry. I heard somebody say combination. Oily.
Oily.
The 4th one always messes me up.
Not dehydrated, no.
No, because remember that's a condition, not a skin type. Check this out, normal.
Normal. What is normal?
That's the one you always forget. You know what I mean? You always forget the normal. So best thing to do is start with normal. If I don't start with normal, I'll forget normal. Okay, so normal, dry, combination. So those are skin types. That's where we ended up. All right, so we talk about the different Fitzpatrick skin types. Now there was another chapter. There was another chapter that was talking. I can't do that. All right. All right, so on the Fitzpatrick scale. Historically, yay, Maris. All right. Developed by Dr. Thomas Fitzpatrick. The Fitzpatrick scale is used to measure. Yeah. Okay. We think of it as, hey, Maris. Okay, you good? Okay.
Yes, I was having issues with the link again. My laptop is just kind of messed up.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you made it. Okay, so we think of it in terms of color and complexion, but from a definition point of view, it is the skin's ability to handle UV exposure by definition. Yeah. It was so loud, I couldn't even think. All right. You're gonna see this on the recording too, but I can't help it. That was like a distraction. Sorry about that. So from a definition standpoint, Fitzpatrick measurement is the skin's ability to handle UV exposure. So ideally, higher Fitzpatrick measurements are skin types that can handle more UV exposure in terms of how we react to UV or sun exposure. Due to mixed genetics, it says there's no true phototype classification system. Photo meaning what we're just talking about, right? So type 1 is the fairest, type 6 is the darkest. All skin falls somewhere on the scale when you're looking at things like eye color, skin tone, heritage. A lot of Fitzpatrick skin types are associated with certain ethnicities, and then response to UV exposure. So type 1 is very white skin, almost translucent. Freckles are associated with type 1, which is interesting because Black people have freckles too. I'm one of them. So when I see that, I'm like, y'all not the only ones with freckles. Heritage, heredity is English, Irish, Scottish, Northern European. The eyes are either blue or green. The hair is either blonde or redhead. So when I see redhead freckles, I'm like, you know, clearly I'm a 4, 5. But I have attributes, but see, Black people, you know, we different, but I have some of those attributes. I have, you know, brown eyes, I have freckles, and I'm a redhead as far as Black people are concerned. My hair is not fire red like hers, but and then skin reaction to UV exposure, it always burns, it peels when it burns, it does not tan. This is the skin type that doesn't tan. You go into the sun, they come out red, they're burned very easily, or whatever have you. So that's Fitzpatrick type 1. Type 2 is the skin is light, unexposed skin is light in color. Mostly white folks are gonna be, you know, Fitz 2. Hair can be red hair, blonde or brown. Eyes can be blue, hazel or brown. These folks are like Scandinavian, or there was another one that I got along with that. I'm trying to listen out for the front door. Is that not at the door? Oh, I thought I heard somebody coming in. This one also burns very, very easily, usually peels when it burns. May tan very minimally, but doesn't tan nicely. Type 2. Type 3 is fair to olive. So this is a type 3 skin type here. That's an olive skin color. So these are Spanish, Greek, darker skin Italians. Hair is usually dark. Eyes are usually brown. They tan nicely, but they burn pretty moderately. So it doesn't take much for them to burn if they're out there unprotected. Skin type 4, a little bit darker. So they're kind of a light brown skin. These are Asians, Southeastern Asians, Hispanic, Mediterranean. Their hair is dark, their eyes are dark, and they tan very easily. They don't burn too bad because they have a little bit more pigment in there. They have an immediate pigment response, but they tan pretty easily and quickly, type 4. All right. Obviously, this is part of their lesson. They're about to do spa management, so they have to learn how to do their front office stuff. Okay. And type 5, we're getting into Black folks here. Some East Indian. It says American Indian, so that's Native American. Some Hispanic or Latin American skin types fall here, and lighter skin African Americans fall here. It says here rarely burns, tans easily and significantly. I disagree with the rarely burns. I disagree with that. I burn very easily, but I think that's just sun damage over the years, because unlike my bestie, my mother didn't slather me down in sunscreen. She still don't wear sunscreen. My family just, I don't know how we missed the boat on sunscreen. So I grew up not wearing sunscreen and in the sun. So, and I never had a problem. I could be in the sun for a lot and not burn, but that's my childhood. Now I'm old. And as soon as I get out there, as soon as the sun hits my skin, it's now a constant reminder, probably because I'm educated and aware of it now. But as soon as I get in the sun, I swear my arms are burning. I swear my legs be burning now. I mean, as I feel, I'm like, man, vampire, what's going on? I'm talking about soon as the sun hits my skin, I'm like, ugh. So I'm sure that sun damage from growing up not wearing sunscreen as a child. My bestie has beautiful skin, but she tells me her mother slathered her in SPF throughout her whole childhood. So her skin is in much better shape than mine is at a deep level. So I burn easily. Clearly not a 6. I'm more of a 5 than anything else. So darker brown, hair dark, eyes dark. You got people like me. There's still some redheads out there, some freckle-faced redheads that are a little lighter skinned, but I burn very easily nowadays. And then we have type 6, which are our darker brown or Black skin, African American, Aboriginal. Y'all know what that word means? Y'all know what that word refers to? Where Aboriginal folks come from.
Aren't they like the native people of like Australia?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, those are Native Australians. They basically the Black folks of Australia. Correct, absolutely correct. Says rarely or never burns. Tans pretty easily. I disagree with the rarely or never burns. Now we have more melanin. All melanin is UV protection. Now it happens to give us pigment, so that's what we think of it as. But physiologically, melanin is a UV protected. So the idea obviously is that the more melanin you have, the more natural protection you have from UV exposure. But I don't know about rarely burns. You stay out there long enough, you can burn, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm not type 6 and type 5, and I burn. Hair is usually dark, eyes are usually dark. So these are 6 types. It's so interesting to see the examples that different books give on different types. Now, in another chapter that I believe we covered, we didn't cover it, and I just did a lesson plan on it.
Okay.
My homework, but there are other classification systems, the Rubin scale, the Glogau scale. So there's information on this in this book on those scales, and I can't remember what chapter it was, but I think I have a lesson plan on it. So if we didn't do it, you will cover it before it's all said and done. You don't hear about those a lot. I mean, they're out there, and you need to know as a licensed esthetician, you need to understand what those scales are measuring. But the Fitzpatrick one is the one that you're going to hear about the most. So you want to get a good idea of that. Okay. Now we're going to move past some of those activities because I can't keep you because I got to get ready, go do my orientation. But characteristics of sensitive skin. So we talked about sensitive skin. Is it a skin type or no?
No.
It's not a skin type. What do we call it?
Condition.
A skin condition. It is a skin condition, but it can be a result of genetic predisposition. It's characterized by fragility, meaning it's fragile, thin skin, redness, flushes easily, meaning blood flows to the surface pretty easily. It'll get red, it'll get warm. So blood will flow to the surface pretty quickly and easily. Doesn't take much, a little bit of nothing will bring a lot of blood flow and irritation. Clients with type 1 with heritage that is Northern European tend to have fair, light colored skin that is thinner and more sensitive. Individuals with multicultural skin can be sensitive without visible redness. Why? Because of the melanin. Sensitive skin is irritated by products and exposure to heat or sun. Telangiectasia is visible, broken, and distended capillaries due to either intrinsic, internal, or extrinsic, external causes. May be noticeable on sensitive skin. Honestly, anybody can have sensitive skin. You can have skin that used to not be sensitive that is sensitive now. Sometimes I think I have sensitive skin. Like I said, sun exposure, real quick, I'm bothered. I'm very irritated. I get a little bumpy and textured. Certain products are too much for me. I've been experimenting with different enzymes. I have not been experimenting with chemical peels yet, but I've been experimenting with a lot of enzymes. There are a lot of very, very strong enzymes out there. Why are they strong? Because they have different acids in them. And so one enzyme I put on my face one time, I mean, my face was red for like 3 days. So I'm starting to wonder, I have sensitive skin now. Sensitive skin can be a result of age, medications, exposure to harsh products, heat, dehydration, or chapping from the cold. It can be difficult to treat because of low tolerance to products and stimulation. What do we do to treat? We treat with products and we treat with modalities. So if you have sensitive skin, the things that we use to treat skin, like products and modalities, it may make it hard to treat because you're already sensitive to whatever we're trying to do to treat it. You may be sensitive to those treatments. Also excessive rubbing, heat, exfoliation, extractions, all of those things may be very difficult to do with sensitive skin without making it worse, look worse, or feel worse in the moment. Treatment must be gentle. It must be non-irritating, calming products. The primary goal is to soothe, calm, and protect. What are things that we can use when you think of soothing, calming, and protecting irritated, sensitive skin? What are some of the things that may come to mind in terms of treatment?
I started to think about like keeping it like moisturized with like emollients and like just trying to keep like that barrier like protected.
Okay. So, there was a word I was going to say, now it just escaped me. Oh, Lord, it starts with an E. So yeah, things that are maybe thick, depending on, so the key is, important part of skin analysis, finding out what causes the sensitive condition. Is it naturally sensitive or is it an exposure to something? If it's an exposure to something, then part of the treatment is going to be to remove that thing, right? That irritant. If it's natural, then you have to think of some other things. What are some other things that soothe and calm? So you mentioned protecting with something that's an occlusive. I said it starts with an E, it starts with an O. Occlusive products are those thicker, heavier products that you might put on the very top after doing some things to the skin, especially. So an occlusive is something, let's just say like a Vaseline. We know we don't put Vaseline on the face, but something thick and heavier, like an Aquaphor or something, like to just seal in. Sometimes we'll do things like that in the winter as a protective. What are other things that can soothe and calm?
Aloe
Hello.
or aloe vera?
Yeah.
I
A lot
love
of
aloe
times when you think of calming skin, you want something with like an aloe. Okay. Intricacies of treating skin of color. When we talk about fits, and when we talk about treating higher fits, one of the things that we're dealing with is we're dealing with the fact that we have higher levels of melanin in the skin. And there's a lot of things that go along with that. So while melanin is a UV protected, it protects the skin from reaction to UV exposure. Melanocytes also have a whole life of their own. And I'm gonna probably take this class one more time and really get into my spirit. This is really, really important. A lot of times we're not going into the depths of skin histology. And I took that 2-day skin intensive out in Phoenix, and I was just like, there's no way that even after teaching anatomy for 12 years straight, I didn't realize how much goes on in the epidermis. The epidermis gets skipped over a lot because all of the things physiologically that relate to the internal parts of the body happen in the dermis. So the epidermis is like, oh yeah, there's these 5 layers, and then the epidermis gets ignored. There is a lot going on in the epidermis. I had no idea. And so melanocytes have a lot of jobs, but one of the things that they do when we talk about things like hyperpigmentation, hyperpigmentation is like a trauma response. So if melanocytes feel like the skin is being messed with in some way and they need to protect it, they secrete a lot of melanin. Hold on one second. That's
Did you want to water anything?
okay. Thought it was. All right. I'm at the front desk, so I gotta answer the door. All right, so Fitzpatrick types 4. Let's go to that one first. So it says this is considered to be one of the most challenging skin types to treat well. Oh, beautiful. I didn't know. Okay. All right. So doesn't show signs of aging as quickly as and that's another thing melanin does. But we know this, right? It's the source of a lot of jokes about how Black don't crack and all that kind of stuff. Melanin also provides the type of support to the skin that keeps us looking youthful, and the lack of melanin sometimes is what causes skin to age quickly. So it doesn't show signs of aging as quickly as Fitzpatrick types 1 and 2 and 3, has great elasticity and firmness, but it becomes hyperpigmented from treatments or aggressive exfoliation. So gentler exfoliation products are recommended. You may need to add melanin suppressants or other lighteners. So when I first started hearing about this, in these trainings. I'm like, why are we trying to lighten skin? Why are we trying to lighten skin? What's the problem? Melanocytes can become very overreactive and create a situation of hyperpigmentation. So a lot of times we do put some melanin suppressants in and on the skin to make sure so that we're combating hyperpigmentation, right? So must avoid sun exposure, use sun protection daily for anyone prone to hyperpigmentation. The thing about hyperpigmentation is we don't know that we're prone to it until we start to see it. So you have to really watch skin. 3 and 4 fits have thicker skin, usually characterized by more oil production. So it needs deep cleansing treatments. Waxing is also more difficult for those with thicker hair and thicker roots in the follicle. Excuse me. And then fits 6, 5, and 6, thicker skin, oilier skin. Because it can have the same level of reactivity as lower fits. Reactions can be more challenging to see on darker skin. So hyperpigmentation sometimes is not as apparent in darker skin because we're talking about pigment. And so darker skin has more pigment anyway. But the reactions can be just as intense as those with lighter skin. They're prone to a form of hyperkeratosis known as ichthyosis and dead skin buildup. So clients need more exfoliation and deep pore cleansing. Okay, they're in and out the door. I don't know what they're doing. All right. All right. Also with 5 and 6, they may have abnormal hypertrophic scarring, which is what we know as keloids. So Fitzpatrick 5 and 6 are more prone to keloids. Sun protection is still necessary. So even though Fitzpatrick 5 and 6 have, supposedly we all have an equal number of melanocytes. But what makes us Fitzpatrick 5 and 6 is that those melanocytes produce more melanin. I've heard different theories on this, but the idea is that skin has the same number in general of melanocytes. So we're not darker because we have more melanin producing cells. Supposedly we all have the same number of cells, but how much pigment those cells are producing is what makes us a 4, 5, and 6 versus a 1, 2, and 3. That's what they say. So sometimes Black people have this, or darker people have this idea that I don't need SPF or sun protection as much as somebody with lighter skin because I have more melanin. Melanin protects from UV exposure, but we still need sun protection. I think I kind of fell into one of those mindsets as I was becoming a young adult. It's bogus, and I believe it's bogus now because of how my skin reacts to the sun. Okay, so let's see, how much do we have left here? So what's left here is skin conditions, and we'll pick up with these. We'll pick up with these next time, and we'll talk about all these contraindications. So there's quite a bit left here. So we're going to continue on with this one. Plus, we have to talk about the actual process of skin analysis. So we're going to continue with this one. This is not a chapter that we're going to be able to finish today with the decreased amount of time that I have. So that's cool because this is an important chapter and I don't want to rush through it anyway. What questions do we have on what we did cover today? Any questions? No questions? Awesome. All right, I'm going to stop the recording here.